Source: Immoral Guild. Welcome back to AniRecapz. Like and subscribe so you never miss our quality uploads. The story starts with a flashback from the future with 5 girls being attacked by monsters in the most weirdest way possible. Their party leader Kikuru watches from a distance. He stares at the open sky wondering if this is how he wants to spend his youth. Back to the present in the Adventurers Guild, Kikuru tells Eneme the guild officer that he wants to quit. This surprises her and inquires as to why he suddenly decided to leave. Kikuru explains he received a New Year's card where he learned that his friends were getting married. This led him to a realization that although he is 20 years old and marriage is still a long way off, he has not yet been in a relationship. Kikuru has been a huntsman all his life. He spent his childhood training his body to be a good hunter. When he turned 18, he started actual monster killings. He has been doing so for 2 years and has accumulated more monster kills than anyone in their region.
大学で狩人サークルに入った奴らはどういうわけか日夜異性をハントしてると聞きますし。
そこを比較対象に比べるのは違うと思う。
Enome understands him, but she explains as he has just worked with them for 2 years, he will not receive any severance pay if he leaves. Kikuru says that if he continues working, he will not have time to spend it, and he also has loads of money from hunting for the last 2 years. She tries to convince him to stay by saying that they have a cute recruit that is coming in today. She implies he should start a relationship with her, but he brushes it off. Outside the guild, Laya and Leah, 2 squirrels cleaning the front, are greeted by the new recruit. She enters the guild and Eneme introduces her to Kikuru. Hitamu, a martial artist. He is intrigued about meeting a martial artist as he has never seen one before. Eneme suggests that Kikuru should accompany her on her first quest. As he sizes her up, Eneme mistakes his stare as a sign that Hitamaki is Kikuru's type.
もしかして好みのタイプだったのかしら。
彼女の能力次第では安心して後を任せられる。
Kikuru and Hitamaki journey to Mabupi Forest for Hitamaki's first quest. As they walk, Kikuru tells her to drop the formalities as calling him Mr. during a fight will be too long and may affect the outcome of the battle. She was hesitant but asks if he is a veteran of hunting monsters. He replies saying he has just been a hunter for 2 years. Kikuru asks if she is a high school graduate. She says she is and now 18. He suggests to her that she should not waste her youth in monster hunting. As he says this, he suddenly feels as if he punched himself with his own words. She says being an adventurer is not a waste as Kikuru himself must have saved a lot of people already. Hitamaki suddenly senses monsters nearby and points in their direction. They hide behind the bushes as Kikuru marvels at how she was able to detect 2 slimes, even from a distance. As he prepares for a preemptive strike, Hitamaki approaches the slimes and introduces herself to them. As a martial artist, she believes all combat starts and ends with a bow. The slimes then attacks her as she bows. One of the slimes enters her clothes and lodges itself between her breasts. The other attaches itself between her legs. She squirms from the sensations. Kikuru offers to help Hitamaki, but warns her that he will have to touch her body. He also hopes that Kikuru would not sue him for sexual harassment. He can remove the slimes and explains to her that her attacks on the slimes would not work as their body absorbs blunt attacks. Using a sharp knife to hit their core is the best way to defeat them. He asks if she has any weapon, but she reasons martial artist's body is the weapon. This disappoints him as she wasn't able to beat the slimes, which were the lowest rank monsters. Hitamaki again smells another monster. Kikuru admires her recon abilities. While on their way, she asks him why he is so careful even if he has already killed so many monsters. He replies that because he is careful, he has killed a lot of monsters. It would be reckless to attack big monsters head-on, he advises. Hitamaki explains that in her dojang, she was only trained to fight head-on. Kikuru criticizes her training and tells her to unlearn it as the best way to kill monsters is to lure them into a trap, stab them from behind, or shoot them from afar. She feels these types of attacks are unfair. Once again, this disappoints Kikuru. The monster they find is a huge Burlian. Kikuru briefs Hitamaki about their attack plan. Her enthusiasm made her voice loud, thus attracting the monster's attention. Seeing that it was her fault, she steps in front of Kikuru and prepares to fight the Berlian with her martial arts skills. The monster picks her up in a bear hug, rendering her helpless. The bear starts licking her face, which gives Kikuru time to shoot the monster in the head. Back in Mabuka City, Ename congratulates Hitamaki for killing slimes and a Berlian.
初陣ならぼちぼちといったところですかね。ほら、もっと喜べよ、ひたむき。
ごめんなさい。何があったの？
Kikuru tells Ename he still intends to quit but wants to find a successor for his position. He is fearful that without someone protecting the city, monsters may destroy it. Ename surprises him with another recruit, Maydana Angers, a white sorceress. She arrives as Kikuru angrily explains that he is not one of those uncontrollable date seekers. Upon hearing this, the loli proclaims she doesn't want to work with lustful guys. Kikuru tries explaining that he is not interested in her because she is just a small girl. This insults her even further, and she hits him on the head. In a flashback, at the Gobuzaki High School Cultural Festival, Kikuru is shown to be guarding and capturing a troublemaker, while the rest of the students are going on dates. He laments to Ename that he wasted his youth on helping others, but he is hopeful that he can make a successor, retire, and then get into college. Hitamaki and Maydana arrive and are ready for another day of hunting. They leave the guild and goes back to Mabuki Forest. As they leave, Izine came looking for them but missed them. In the forest, Kikuru explains that hunters, martial artists, knights, and sorcerers are considered guards protecting the city from the monsters. He goes on to explain the jobs they have to do, and Maydana adds that they also have to escort VIPs, something she learned in school. He then asks Itamuko to smell and track down slimes. They find one slime and Kikuru uses the opportunity to train Hitamaki. She goes to attack the slime on her own while Kikuru and Maydana hide in the bushes. Once again, Hitamaki bows and slime attacks her. Maydana suggests a rescue, but Kikuru holds back as he wants to see if Hitamaki can recover and kill the slime. Hitamaki can get the slime off her and tries attacking it by stabbing at it with her fingers. The slime dodges the attack and she ends up injuring her fingers. She screams due to her injury and attracts another slime that holds her down while the other one attacks her by attaching itself to her behind. In the end, Kikuru once again rescues her. Maydana heals Hitamaki's fingers but charges her money for it. A mega slime suddenly appears and is posed to attack them. Hitamaki uses this opportunity to show her special skill, a special art move, counter. However, the move limits her range and she cannot move from her stance. The slime ignores her and grabs Maydana by her legs. Kikuro uses his bow to slice off the slime's hand and catches her as she falls. The slime retreats and they decide not to pursue it. Back at the guild, Kikuru explains to Ename that they only killed off 2 slimes and didn't want to risk the novices. Maydana thanks him for saving her. She promises to join them again if she has no school. Kikuru inquires about which college she is going to. She says she is still 15 and goes to high school. This leads Kikuru to ask Ename to raise the age requirement for future members to 18 and above.
クエストで何が起きてるの？
俺の口からはとても言えません。
The next day,
Tail, a senior of Kikuru, decided to retire to his family's apple farm. Kikuru doesn't want him to retire as this would make his retirement harder. After Will leaves, Ename informs Kikuru that 2 rookies will be joining him, a warrior and a black sorceress. He thinks that a warrior has perfect attack and defense, which is very versatile, while a black sorceress can attack. Tokishuko Dana, the black mage, enters and flops down on the counter. She warns Kikuru that he should not expect much from her. Kikuru realizes that she is very lazy and does not have the will to do anything. However, she needs to earn money for her living expense and wants to join their group to share in the reward. She promises not to get in his way. This angers Kikuru but allows her to join them on their quest. In the forest, Kikuru laments the composition of their party. Hitamaki has all the enthusiasm but lacks the skill, and Tokishuko lacks motivation and skill. Tokishuko butters up Hitamaki so she will do all the work for her. Hitamaki detects a monster nearby. She charges towards it and tells Kikuru to relax and that she will take care of it. However, the monster, which turned up to be another Berlian, flips her over its shoulder. Kikuru uses this opportunity to test her. However, she falls over due to exhaustion, revealing her poor stamina. As the bear was already doing lewd things to Hidemaki, Kikuru kills the bear with his arrow. Kikuru wants Takashiko to show her skill off before they leave. He points her toward the den of zippy rabbits. Hidemaki finds the rabbits cute, but they start attacking her. Takashiko also is hesitant in fighting the rabbits until one of them
私小中の時ウサギたちの世話してたから精で頬振ってやる畜生ども
短い葛藤だったな。
She chooses lighting bolts to attack the rabbit. However, the rabbits easily escape her bolts, which frustrates her. She asks Kikuru for help, but he insists that this is part of her training. She turns to Hidemaki, but the rabbits have tied her up and started to suck. She turns back to Kikuru, who is visibly trying to ignore what is happening to Hidemaki. He still insists that they should do better. This alarms Takashiko, especially when the rabbits try to undress her. She fights back but gets jumped from behind and is unable to chant a spell. The rabbits pinned her down as MC was planning to step in. Takashiko stops him and uses her magic to start casting a huge lightning attack. Rabbits then goes back to their holes. MC tries to stop her from doing the spell as all the rabbits have already escaped. She, however, continues with it and burns herself, along with Hidemaki. Back at the guild, the two girls are in tatters. Anime laments how she wanted one of them to get close to Kikuru, but he already had his ways with both of them. This then pisses him off even more. He tries to defend himself, but Takashiko says he sat there looking at them as the rabbits ravished their bodies. Kikuru angrily points out that this was not his intention. Their conversation is interrupted by the night girl Hanabata. It turns out that Takashiko and Hanabata are childhood friends. Takashiko even goes as far as telling Kikuru that Hanabata has great fighting skills. This greatly excites Kikuru as he feels he might have found his replacement and his retirement is near. Before leaving, the party learns that Hanabata is the daughter of the president of Nokin Sports, but Hanabata insists on treating her normally as she does not have any status or power. Her escorts surprised all of them at the front of the guild. As they leave, her escorts take Kikuru aside and request to take care of her. They also mention that it is best to ask Takashiko about Hanabata as there is a side of her better observed by others. This puzzles Kikuru. Walking through the forest, Kikuru messages Takashiko to ask about Hanabata. She, however, decided not to join the group to play an RPG. Kikuru starts orienting Hanabata and wants her to observe and not do anything. He wants to show her the ropes, but Hidemaki convinces him that she will take the lead. She finds a slime, but as she tries to attack it, MC shoots it with an arrow, telling her that his hand slipped. On the next slime, he also uses the excuse that his foot slipped to kill the next slime. This makes her cry as she wanted to take the lead. As they discuss this, a mad boar appears and attacks them. Hanabata rushes into action using her war hammer. With one blow, she is able to kill the monster. This earns the admiration of Hidemaki and Kikuru. As Hidemaki realizes she cannot perform as well as her, Hanabata praises her fast recon skill. She starts to work harder in detecting monsters. She detects a group of monsters coming toward them. This turned out to be a herd of mad boars. MC leads them downhill. She questions this decision as they gave up the higher ground. Kikuru explains that since boars have long hind legs, so they will have a hard time going downhill, which may cause them to tumble. Hidemaki, however, ends up tumbling and gets surrounded by the boars, and they starts attacking her. This infuriates Hanabata and she decides to use her frenzy skill. MC realized using frenzy will substitute reason with brute strength, but she assures him that although her memories during frenzy might get vague, she can still distinguish between friend or foe. She gets into the frenzied state, but it makes her more like darkness from Konosuba. She became very drunk as she acts dumb and weird. She attacks the boars while laughing and tosses them high in the air, even though they weigh about 400 kgs each. After defeating the boars, she feels hot and takes off her breastplate, exposing her big watermelons underneath the armor. She begs to be praised by MC. to which he does so reluctantly. But this excites her even more, so she hugs him with full force, crushing his back. As he struggles to free himself, Hidemaki is able to snap darkness back into her normal state. She gets surprised to see Kikuro laying injured on the ground. She asks if a monster got to him. He sarcastically replies saying, "A monster dressed as a teammate got him." They all go back to the guild and Anime congratulates them for stopping the Mad Boars. Kikuru and Hidemaki credit the work to Hanabata. She is grateful for the praise but hopes they can forget about her losing her breastplate in the middle of the battle. Kikuru realizes that Hanabata thought she would fight fiercely during her frenzied state and not like an intoxicated warrior. Her escorts did not tell her this, and he now understands what they tried to tell him. He ponders whether to reveal it to her. The arrival of Hanabata's escorts makes him think otherwise, and they thank him for his cooperation. He, however, seems to regret his choice already. On their next quest, Hidemaki once again is captured by a root cat monster. Kikuru orders Tokishiko to use freeze magic to help Hidemaki. However, when he turns, he sees her also captured by the root vines of the monster. Hanabata starts her frenzy state again, despite Kikuru's objections. The scene cuts back to the guild where MC scolds all of them for making him do all the work. They try to make excuses, but MC shuts them all. He then orders everyone to take a day off. He feels this will recharge them all, including himself. The following day, the girls all meet at the plaza. Each one admires the other's outfits. Hidemaki wore a PE outfit that she used in school, revealing her body curves a lot. Hanabata used a dress with a tight top revealing her huge bosom, and Takashiko wears a dress with frills. Maidana was late and arrived accompanied by two other girls. They were council members who wanted to make sure Maidana was indeed attending a gathering of all girls. They leave but remind her to behave herself as she is the angel. The girls walk together and they start asking Maidana why was she called the angel. Takashiko feels that maybe it is because she is a genius, while Hidemaki says she looks like an angel, which makes her angry, but Takashiko calms her down. She pushes her to the front of their line to balance them out. As Maidana wonders what she means, Takashiki had arranged them in line according to breast size. Back in the guild, Anime hands MC a document showing the number of injured guards in the last month. He has been bothered by the recent behavior of the monsters harassing Hidemaki. Anime explains that monsters live on mana, and they get it from plants and living creatures. They attack humans to get mana from their flesh and body fluids. She affirms it is strange behavior that they are willing to risk her resisting and gathering their mana through lewd means. Kikuro adds that Hidemaki's mana might be finer than most, but he is not sure if there is such a thing as good and bad mana. As he ponders on it, Anime remarks that he is showing genuine concern for the recruits. MC says he still wants to quit, but he finds himself looking for answers to the mystery. Anime assures him that it is okay that he remains true to his roots, but he is worried that Takashiko will start calling him a quitter scammer. Back at the plaza, the girls have found a cafe. They are eating cake and Torishiko starts asking them about their love life. Hanabata comments that she has no love life as her family is strict and she is always surrounded by her escorts who keep an eye on her. Maidana also shares, a devout Fonizaskin like herself could not date anyone. Hidemaki says that her days are filled with training. Torishiko also says she stays indoors, so they are all loveless. She brings up that Kikuru is quitting, but he might date one of them. She calls Kikuro and asks him who he would date among them. MC promptly replies guild receptionist, Anime. This shocks all the girls and leaves them dumbfounded. In the guild, Anime wonders why Kikuru answered the phone with her name. MC explains that it was a magic spell that silences many women. The girls leave the cafe and go on their separate ways. Hidemaki is walking home being all happy. She smells MC nearby and spots him walking. She leans too far across the ledge and falls over. Hidemaki apologizes for landing on him. He asks her to get off him, but moving his lips tickles her. He seemed to be caught in some spell, and the scent of Hidemaki seems to make him daydream. Kikuro fights off the spell and realizes the effect of Hidemaki's mana. She, however, feels a knife sticking at her back. He begs her not to move too much, but suddenly hears a camera shutter go off. It was Torishiko taking a photo with her phone. She jokingly tells him that they will see him in court. The next day, Anime asks Isaine to take over the reception. She leaves the guild to investigate Kikuru's observation of the monsters. She asked Kikuru to accompany her and Hidemaki also joins them. MC assigns her to lead them away from strong monsters and fight the weak ones. She excitedly agrees to the task. They walk on and start their quest. Kikuru asks her if she remembers the scent of the monsters they faced. She recalls all the monsters they encountered but also what these monsters did to her. She becomes gloomy and Anime asks about how many encounters she had with them. They move on with their quest with Anime questioning how are they supposed to investigate the lewd behaviors of the monsters. Kikuru responds by telling her of his plan to use Hidemaki as bait. Anime objects to this, but he explains that Hidemaki always fights the monsters seriously, loses and then gets teased by the monsters. Anime is surprised by the nonchalant way Kikuru explains the events. She asks if Hidemaki is of any help to him. He replies that among the girls she seems to be the best match for him. He explains that he is the main attacker and does not need more firepower that Hanabata provides. He also rarely gets injured, so he has no use for a healer. He, however, cannot copy Hidemaki's skill, which is to sniff out the monster like a hound. As they are walking behind Hidemaki, she stops and tells them there is a root cat monster nearby. She suddenly falls into a hole which has been dug by the monster. Kikuru warns her and tells her to get out. All of a sudden, a humila snake breaks through the walls of the hole and starts attacking Hidemaki. She panics and holds the snake's head. Kikuru tells her that the snake is not poisonous. She makes a plan to endure its bites and just continue choking the snake. Kikuru warns her that the snake has 2 heads. Just then, the other head bursts through the ground and joins the fight. Hidemaki gets surprised by the attack and lets go of the other head. The snakes attack her with one of the heads burying itself in her butt. Anime witnesses the event and blushes. MC asks her if the monster's behavior is strange. She reprimands him for not helping Hidemaki, but he insists it's the only way to observe the monster's behavior. Anime puts an end to the investigation and orders him to rescue Hidemaki. As Kikuru leaves her, another snake sprouts from the ground and attacks her. The snake wraps up her arms against the tree and incapacitates her. She hesitates to call out to Kikuru as he has to rescue Hidemaki. She casts a defensive spell which Kikuru hears. He turns around as the snake rips her top, exposing her watermelons. He apologizes to her and offers money for seeing her in that state. She asks him to put it away as one of the snakes starts to violate her. She wonders why they would collect mana this way when she even has the lowest mana of them all. She also realizes that Kikuru is the first one of her acquaintances to see her naked like that. MC, meanwhile, has recovered from the initial shock and is trying to look away and find ways to help her. Anime commands her to rescue her. He chops off the heads of the snakes and removes the bodies wrapped around her. He gets her this shirt to wear. Anime says to him that the snake did not intend to attack her as she is not hurt. She suddenly realizes that Hidemaki is still in trouble. They go near the hole and see the snake sucking on her watermelons. Before Kikuru rescues her, he asks not to be sued for touching her, which was once again funny to hear. They go back to the guild and are greeted by a scene. Hidemaki learns that she is Enome's daughter.
ママはお仕事どうだった？
娘のエシネちゃんです。
よろしく。
Miss Enome is 31 years old and a mother. Cute as Sign goes and hugs Kikuru. She explains to Hidemaki, although her father is still alive, he cheated on her mom and is never seen, so it's better for him not to be around. As they talk, Kikuru reflects on how he felt immoral touching a married woman's body. With this, we end our video. Stay tuned for the next part and watch our other quality contents. Stay safe. Bye.